Now that we have finished designing our home page, we are going to move over to start designing other pages such as the details page and the topics page and so on. Alright, so we are going to begin with the details page, and we will start by adding the HTML for this banner here and then subsequently style it. So I have already done some work in the background. I have added a few icons in the images folder within the assets directory. Those images are basically icons of social media platforms. These are icons that you can easily see with a Google search. I already did the search and then downloaded these ones to save us some time. Alright, so that's the only thing I've done behind the scenes. So you can go ahead and Google these images and download them into the icons folder under images. Okay, so having done that, the next step is for us to create an HTML file for the single post page. I call it single post, but what it does is basically to display the details of the post. Okay, so of course this is going to look a bit similar to the home page. So I'm going to select all the code within the index.html file. I copy that and then I paste it inside single post.html. I'll scroll to the top and start modifying. The title, we can change it to single post. We are not going to be changing the navigation bar. It's going to be the same. So we'll leave that unchanged. And then within the page container, this first article here is the featured post. We don't need that on the details page, so I'll take that out. We don't need any of these carousels also. So I'm going to select all of them. This is one. I take it out. Then I select the other one too. Select and remove. Even the topic section, we don't need it. So on the single post page here, we only have the HTML for the header, which we will need, and then the empty div that represents the page container. The footer is going to remain unchanged on this page, and all these scripts are going to remain here because we're going to be using the toggle search and the responsive nav bar and so on. Even the slick carousel, we are going to have to add a carousel on this page for suggested articles, so I'm going to leave this code here. Okay, so having done that, we can go up now and start writing the HTML for our banner. So I'm just going to use a comment here to say page banner to indicate that we are writing the HTML for banner here. And the banner is basically going to be a section element with a class of page banner. And within that banner, we're going to have a div to enclose everything within that banner. And we're going to give this div a class of banner container. Alright, so the purpose of this banner or container is basically to hold the content and give it a width that is in line with the width of the page. It's a similar thing to what we did to the footer here. We gave it a max width of 1200 pixels so that it stays in alignment with the rest of the page. Alright, so now we can start defining the elements within the banner container. Now the banner container is split into two main parts. We have the post details on the left and then the featured image on the right. So I'm going to add two div elements. One of them is going to have a class of left box to represent the box that has the post details, and then the other one is going to have a class of right box for the featured image. And within the left box, we have some breadcrumbs to indicate the navigation to this page, and then beneath that we have the title of the article and then user details and social media share links or share icons. Okay, so let us begin with the first, which is the breadcrumbs. I'm just going to create a div with a class of breadcrumbs, and this is going to act, it's advised to give a role of navigation to this to indicate to assistive devices that this is some form of navigation to this page. And we're going to wrap everything within these breadcrumbs into a small element to make sure that the font size is automatically smaller than most of the text on the page. And the first point of navigation here is the home page. So we are going to add a link to the home page, that is the index.html page. That link is going to say home. And after that link, we will have a forward pointing arrow. So we will just add it here. And then under that, we will add a span. And inside that span, we are going to have a link to the next item of navigation. In this case, the topic. So let us just add journaling here. And after that, we will also add the icon that points forward. And then after that icon, now we'll have the last span element, which displays the title of the article. I'm just going to copy it here. And for this one, since it is the actual destination of this particular navigation path, we are not going to add it in any link again. We're just going to leave it like this. Okay, so that is it for the breadcrumbs. After the breadcrumbs as seen on this page, we are going to add the title, and it's going to be an h1 tag. Let's just paste the title we used up here. And we make sure we give this a class of banner title. And then after that, the next section is going to be, let's just call it post details. So we'll have a div with a class of post details. And it's going to be split into two parts: the author wrapper to display information about the author, and then the social links. So let us say social, let me start with the author wrapper, and then another div for social links. The social links is going to be pretty straightforward. We're just going to have a span that says share. And then after that span, we will have a couple of link elements. And we make sure that these link elements, when you click on them, they should take you to a new page or a new tab on the browser. So let's make sure we assign a target of _blank on each of the links. And then within each link, we are going to have one of those icons that we added to our icons folder under images. Okay, so let us just point this. Let's point to that folder. We are inside the single underscore post.html, so we can just access the assets folder. And within the assets folder, we'll go to images, icons, and let's just pick Facebook as the first. So that is it for Facebook. We are going to duplicate this a number of times for LinkedIn and then Twitter. LinkedIn, Twitter. Okay, for LinkedIn, let's just access the image for that, and also for Twitter. And that is all for the social share links. The next part we are going to move on to now is the author wrapper. And this author wrapper is made up of the author avatar or the image, and then the name and the date of publication, as well as the time it takes to read the article. Okay, so for the avatar, we're just going to add an image tag, and we'll access it by starting with the assets folder and then images, avatar, and then our. And then the next part of this author wrapper is going to be the name details or the name wrapper. So this will have the name as well as other information like the date as well as the time it takes to read the article. So we are just going to add a link element because the username is clickable. All right, so we'll give it a class of link so that it should achieve this effect where we have to hover on it to get the underline effect to apply. The link is going to simply say our Melvin, that's the author name. And then the next pieces of information include, let me make it small. I'm going to wrap it around a small element so that it can be small. And here we're going to simply have the date. Let me just say April 10, because that's today's date. And then after that, we are going to use this code the code from mid dot to achieve this dot that you see here between the date and the time it takes to read. So that code is going to produce this centralized dot. And then after that, we're just going to add let me see, 9 minutes as the time it takes to read it. Okay, and that is all for the right box on this page banner. The next part is the left box, which is pretty straightforward. There's not going to be much work here. We will simply add a div element within this right box that is going to hold the background image. So I'm going to give it this generic class of BG image to apply some default styles to the image that we are applying as a background image to this element. And then we will add another class called featured image wrapper. Okay, this is just to add additional styles to this element. Okay, so here we're going to add a style property and set the background image to, we'll set a URL that points to the assets folder, because that's where all our images are. We go to the images folder, featured images, and let me just pick an image that is in line with the article that we are using as the article to model the design of this page. Okay, all right, and I believe that is all about the HTML for this page banner section. So let us just open this page on the browser and see what it looks like. So go to single underscore post.html, and of course it's going to look terrible. In the next video, we're going to start working on the design to get this to begin to look like what we have here on the finished project. So see you in the next video.